and welcome back to Open Here with Enby Andy and this week's episode. So this month is Pride Month. I hope you're all being celebrating, being out and proud if you are. And remember, you're still valid as a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Even if you're not out, still be you, just be you in a safe manner. So as per usual, we have our 3 topics this week. We'll discuss these, and then we're going to open the floor at the end for any further questions for the following weeks, and I can answer in the comment section. So this week we're going to look at, first of all, the best way to support our LGBTQ plus family. Then we're going to look at one thing we wish that people didn't say. And then finally we'll cover makeup tips for beginners, people who are new out as non-binary. So just to start then, so what's the best way to support LGBTQ plus people? The obvious answer is to treat us as you would treat anyone else, with kindness, empathy, understanding. We're not a different type of people, we're just the same as anyone else. It's just that we love people who aren't seen as normal in society. We may love the opposite sex, we may love people who have no sex and no gender. I think the important thing when it comes to how to support us, it's to do your own research. Just because you may work with someone who, for example, is trans, you may work with someone who's lesbian, you may work with or know someone who's pansexual or non-binary, etc. Doesn't mean they're there to be the font of all knowledge for you. You made a good step by watching these videos. You're educating yourself, and do your own research, look around, use Google. Google's a massive friend. There's also loads of different accounts online on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The most important thing to do to help us is, look around, learn, and take the time to do so. And that way you're building knowledge for yourself, you're understanding people a lot better. But at the same time, by doing it on yourself, you're not putting all this pressure on one person to answer all the questions that you have. Like I say, you've done a good step by watching these videos, but for example, for trans rights, I would recommend you follow Eva Echo on Instagram. She's a fantastic trans rights activist. And there's also the Unite campaign on Instagram, and I'll put all these links on the screen as well for you to follow. And they're fantastic to learn more about our queer community. So secondly, one thing that we wish people didn't say. As a non-binary person, the real thing that is horrible to hear is when people misgender you. So for example, I've had it where people call me a man. For example, I would imagine that people who are non-binary who are assigned female at birth, they will be called women, and there'll be people who are so stuck in the lanes they won't take the time or opportunity to understand people, and they will be misgendering them, call them a different gender than they actually are. And a lot of it can be down to ignorance. We don't mind if people slip up, if people make honest mistakes and then correct themselves. But it's the ones who are malicious, who do it out of spite, who do it on purpose. Obviously those ones, the people who are full of hate, and the people that there's no need to be like that. Just use the correct pronouns. So moving on to pronouns, I'm not going to use the term preferred pronouns because they're not preferred. These are our actual pronouns. So you may have heard a lot recently on Instagram. They opened the option to put your pronouns on your bio. And there is a recent famous singer who came out as non-binary with the pronouns of they, them. And they received a lot of negative reaction in the press and the British media, because as usual the British media are pretty transphobic. So when I first came out as non-binary, I kept the pronouns as he and him, but I also used they, them. And looking back, it wasn't just for me that I kept the he, him. Obviously I'd been he, him for 36 years, it was what I was used to. I was also doing it to try and make the transition for other people easier. So if people are so used to calling me he, it was a way for me to break them in gently to the fact that I'm non-binary. You can still use he, him, or you can use they, them. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm realising for myself I'm definitely not feeling like a he or a him. I'm feeling much more a they and a them. And because of that, I'll be changing my pronouns with work and on my social media bios, etc. And just informing people that, you know what, yeah, it's a journey still. Yes, I came out and I said he, him's fine, but as of now, I don't feel comfortable with he, him. I definitely feel more like a they and them. So if you are going to talk with people, if you're at work, if you're speaking on social media, one of the most powerful things you can do to increase inclusivity and awareness is to put your pronouns somewhere, like in your email signature, your social media bios, anything like that. And that'll also, promote other people to do so. And it just opens that inclusivity. It raises awareness. It makes people aware that there may be people who use different pronouns, and there's less assumption and there's less chance of people like me being misgendered. So yeah, please put your pronouns where you use them. And then moving on to makeup tips for beginners. Now, when I first came out, I had spent 36 years as a man. I didn't have the bloody foggiest way to start with makeup. And I was so lucky that when I came out, a lot of my friends online have been fantastically supportive, and are being sent palettes upon palettes of eyeshadow and extremely good tips and tricks to make sure that your makeup is on point. So I'm going to try and pass a few of those little tips on for people who are assigned male at birth but are now wanting to explore their gender identity and want to look a bit more feminine with the makeup. Now, the important thing to do is practice. Practice, practice, practice. You're not going to look amazing the first time, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to look amazing the second time and so on, but it's practice makes perfect. It's feeling your way to success. The more you do it, the more you're going to learn. And one of the first mistakes that I made when it came to things like eyeliner is I went for one of the kind of liquid eyeliners, and yes, it looks amazing, but it's so hard to do properly and so easy to make mistakes. It's such a delicate thing. So one of the recommendations I would make for eyeliner is you can get the kind of thicker felt tip ones, which have got a much better kind of brush tip to it, and you get a lot more control, and you can do hopefully what looks like a good eyeliner with these ones. I would also recommend that you just try and get a nice eyeshadow palette. I've got quite a selection now, like I said, due to really nice friends. They can be expensive, so try and get one which kind of covers a lot of different bases. So you can get ones with quite neutral tones, or a little bit more colour with them, so you can be a bit more bold. Or you can get ones which are completely shiny and glittery, and obviously I do like a bit of sparkle. But get them, experiment. There's loads of different videos on YouTube on how to do your eyeshadow, and just play around with it and take your time and just find what works for you. Build it up slowly, learn, enjoy it, play with it, and you're going to find a look that works for you. The first makeup I bought for myself was my red lippy, and I think definitely red is my colour. I definitely like to be bold when it comes to makeup, but experiment again, find what works with you, find what shade works with you, and just play around with lipsticks and lip gloss and things like that. There's loads of different things out there. Don't be too kind of swamped by the options, because there is a bloody lot. But just find one that you kind of like the shade with, try it, work it, and see how it works for you. And the kind of last recommendation I would have for beginner makeup is try and get a primer, just to kind of make your face a bit more matte, and a basic foundation if you want to do that. Personally, I've got a lot of bags under my eyes. I haven't got foundation on today, but sometimes it's just nice to make your skin a bit more blended in. And it's difficult to try and find the right foundation for you when you're first starting, because it all depends on your skin tone, etc. But don't be afraid to ask members of staff at stores that sell makeup. Makeup is genderless. It isn't just a woman's thing. If you want to wear makeup, and don't be afraid to ask for advice, either from your friends or the people who sell the makeup. They're much more knowledgeable than me. Speak to them and try and find out what's going to work for you, and don't try and break the bank. You don't have to get everything at once. Take your time, build your makeup slowly, and just find out what works for you and take your time with it. And like I say, practice makes perfect. take some selfies. If you're out, post them on social media and get some praise, because I swear you'll always get your friends really bigging you up and making you feel amazing. So practice makes perfect. Keep practicing your makeup. By all means, I'm not perfect, but I'm enjoying it, and I love being able to be bold and show off. And yeah, it's one of those things that for me, it really kind of brings out my feminine side, having the makeup on and just feeling beautiful with it on there. Also, do your nails. Again, practice makes perfect. You're always going to be, you'll have a really good hand with the opposite hand that you're used to, but then when you do with your left hand, you shake your hand, you're going to make mistakes, but don't worry, mistakes are what you learn from. So yeah, makeup. Slowly does it, learn to do it, take your time and be awesome. So those are the 3 topics for this week's video. Quite a basic topics. So like I say, do your own research to support people, learn, be open, and don't rely on LGBTQ people to teach you if you know them. Do your own research, but be kind, empathetic and friendly. Pronouns, one thing we wish people didn't do is to misgender us, so make sure that you use the correct pronouns. It's not preferred pronouns. If I tell you that my pronouns are they, them, please do everything you can to make sure you use those. We understand about honest mistakes, but don't do it on purpose. And like I said, makeup, slowly does it, enjoy it, take your time. So thank you very much for joining this week's video. The comment section's open below on YouTube to ask any further questions or queries for next week. Alternatively, you can follow me on Instagram, which the details at the end of the video. It's at @NB_Andy. Get following me on there as well. I do many selfies and lots of self-promotion posts, because why not? I'm brilliant. So get following me on there, get asking your questions and comments, and I hope to catch you next week. In the meantime, stay safe, stay friendly, and I'll see you soon. Take care.